Hey crew, I've got the key to this 2022 Genesis G70 3.3T Sport. We are going to take it for a drive, but first, let's check out how it looks on the outside and inside. Refresh for the 22 model year, the G70 adopts Genesis's larger corporate grille that we first saw in the G90. Functional ventilation in there, functional ventilation down here for the large front air dam. These inlets on the side are non-functional. Does that make them just lets? There's no in. These quad style LED headlights, where it looks like they just came along and chunked out the middle. We first saw these on the GV80, and I do think they look more successful on that vehicle, larger body, than on this G70. But this dark paint color, the Tasman blue, it's a deep bluish green with metallic flake on the surface. That helps bring the face and the headlights together. A bit more polished. 19-inch black gloss wheels are part of, it's either the Sport Advanced or Sport Prestige package. This vehicle has both. Along with the red painted Brembo brakes. They're wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tires, 225 section front, 255 section in the rear. Dark chrome window treatment, one of those packages has that as well. Stepping back to look at the profile. Looks good, very upscale. The cab rearward design, really emphasizing the rear drive dynamics. This is the rear drive version. You can also get it with all-wheel drive, but it will be a rear wheel drive based all-wheel drive system. Coming to the back, love the gentle taper. This character line running towards these quad LED taillights. These are more successful than the headlights in my opinion. I like the ornate details here. Very unique. Integrated spoiler in that trunk. Little upturn there. Down here, more fake honeycombing. But then I like these oval chrome finishers. And there are 2 pipes in each finisher, so a total of quad exhaust. 4 exhaust pipes. Genesis on the trunk, spelled out, looks a little like it's floating in nothingness. I don't like that quite as much. But the subtle G70 and 3.3T badge, those are good. Like the rear view, apart from the Genesis spelled out. The whole vehicle's aesthetic is, as I said, upscale. It looks like a mature luxury sedan. They pulled that off very well. I do think I like the pre-facelifted G70 face better. But let's check out that interior now. Opening up and looking inside, we've got black Nappa leather seating surfaces with the Sport Prestige package, red contrast stitched and red piped. This quilted diamond pattern with perforations in the seat bottom and seat back looks super luxurious. Oh, red contrast seat belts. Sucker for that. Aluminum trim piece here in the door with bevel design. Looks like it should be textured, but it isn't. Solid sounding door handle. Injection molding up top. Aluminum. Quilted leather in the inserts. Leather for the armrest with contrast stitch. This is hard plastics down there. One touch up and down windows. Very quick, and go all the way down. Thank you. Genesis on the tread plates. Hopping inside. Oh, tighter squeeze. For sure. That's my drive position at 6 feet tall. And you can see I've got 1 inch to 1.5 inches of knee room. Knee cutouts help, but they're almost too low. The footwells are not deep, so I can't slide my feet under and decrease the knee angle. And yeah, my head is resting on the roof. It is a microfiber suede headliner, so not a bad roof to rest on. But yeah, if you've got a bunch of 6-footers in this car, you wouldn't want to do a long trip in this. You could make it work. However, that drive shaft hump means that you're not going to fit 3 adults across the back. Just going to be maybe 3 kids or 2 adults and 1 very small child. You've got air vents here and 1 USB-A port. No USB-C ports anywhere in the cabin. Armrest comes down. Super soft filling leather. Wouldn't mind resting my arm on that. Knurled finish here for the cup holders. That's a nice touch. Hopping out. Going to check the front. Solid sounding doors. You've got keyless entry for the front 2 doors. Heated and ventilated seats with those two packages I mentioned, adjustable side bolsters and thigh supports. The seats themselves look very nice. Same aluminum trim piece here. Power folding door mirrors. Wow, those are quick. Really quick. Hard plastic down here. 15 speaker Lexicon sound system. Let's hop in. Leather wrapped steering wheel with red contrast stitch on the inside. Nice inserts at 9 and 3 with perforation. Paddles on the back of the steering wheel, not on the column. You've got a mix of analog for your speedo and digital tachometer. I'll show you that when I close the door. And you can really tell the difference between the analog needle and the digital one. It's kind of weird, but at least they're trying. You've got a head-up display there and a super responsive touchscreen. I mean, really responsive. I don't think I've encountered one that reacts this quickly. And you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but you do have to plug in to the USB-A port down here. Wireless smartphone charging pad that does have perforations so your phone doesn't overheat. Your dual zone climate control is here with the seat ventilating and heating there. This all looks and feels fantastic. That same bevel design for the inserts. Your drive mode selector. Man, at just under $52K, this feels well worth the money. But let's go drive it. All right, let's fire it up. Neat little graphic on the TFT display to greet you. You just feel cooler putting on red seat belts. And we're going to throw it into reverse here to bring up the surround view camera system. That's part of one of those two packages, Sport Advanced or Sports Prestige. And high resolution camera here for both the backup and the bird's eye view. You have a few different angles as well. You can show your rear wheels if you're close to the curbing, and a top view if you think you're going to hit a pole or something behind you. Go to the wide angle and back it on up. Pull back to drive. This feels nice and solid, and the leather feels fantastic. We're going to start in comfort drive mode as we get familiar with the 22 G70. Start by mentioning that the seating position is excellent. You've got a lot of adjustability in the seats, including for the bolsters and the thigh support. Visibility out the front is great. Good size windows, front and rear, and then you do have a small blind spot over at that C-pillar, but that's what the blind spot view monitor is for. Again, part of one of those two packages, and it shows you a camera view, a real-time view of your right blind spot if you've got the right turn signal on, and left blind spot for your left turn signal. Yeah, the seats are extremely comfortable. And the adaptive suspension is part of the Sport Prestige package that also adds the limited slip rear differential. Would definitely recommend that package if you're looking at something with this much performance. In comfort, the throttle tip in is at ease. The brake pedal isn't grabby, but it still has a strong bite there. And at the speeds we were just doing, 40 miles per hour, the ride was pretty quiet. Let's talk about the engine. So you have two engine options in the new G70. You've got a 2.0 turbo, and you have this 3.3 twin-turbo V6 that makes 365 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque. Gets this thing to 60 in 4.7 seconds, says Genesis. I would wager it does that run quicker. Based on seat of the pants, haven't pulled out any data, but seat of the pants, this feels properly quick. And we'll dig in more to that in a second. Top speed is 167 miles per hour. All those numbers stack up pretty nicely with the competitors. But two of the Germans, the M340i and the C43, make more power. I doubt you'd be able to sense that from behind the wheel, though. Let's go to sport drive mode here. Take this corner with quickness. You can just feel the rear drive dynamics there. The back end just wanting to step out, but keeping itself in check, and it's so controllable through the corner. The steering feel is it's artificial. You can feel the boosting, and you have a sense of what's going on there, but it's certainly not at the level of even the Acura TLX Type S that I was just in. I had a lot more sensitivity to the wheel, what was going on. But man, is there power here. Again, those brakes are solid. Pouring it on. Oh, what a hustler. And we might yet have a chance to do some launch control, so we'll go into Sport Plus drive mode. Nope, not at this run. We'll just dip back into the power. I'm not sure if and how much of that engine noise is being piped into the cabin. You don't get much of the induction, but it's a sweet sounding engine. It sounds authoritative. You don't get any of the overrun that you get from like the C43, the pops and bangs from the exhaust note. But it does sound good. It sounds rich. And gosh, this car picks up speed. Here in Sport Plus, just leaving the 8-speed automatic gearbox to its own devices. If you just put your foot down, it'll drop down gears quickly. So you don't need to go into manual mode, but you can do manual mode just by pulling on the paddle. There is no manual mode to lock in the transmission here near the drive selector, so it will default back to auto if you haven't been playing with the paddles for a while. So we'll slow on down, click it down to second. And it did want to upshift for me as I got close to that red line. I would say I didn't even get right to that red line before it wanted to upshift. But doing it yourself, the shifts are quick. It's a good transmission. I wish it didn't try to override me, especially if I'm not getting up to that red line. And I found the same thing with Acura's TLX Type S transmission. It wanted to upshift for me. But there's nothing bad to say about how quick these shifts are, down and up. It's a good transmission. To go back to auto, because you don't, again, have a manual button to turn on or off, you just hold the right paddle. That takes you back. And here, even in Sport Plus mode with these adaptive dampers, the ride, this is a very smooth road. I almost need to hold my tongue before making a point about how good the ride quality is. I keep forgetting I have that monitor, so. The default is to throw my head over my shoulder to look, and that's still a good practice, but you have that as a backup. Back to the ride quality, even in Sport Plus mode. Let's just go over a lane marking. No one's there. Bumpier stuff. Yeah, it's still very, very good. This will be our chance to do a U-turn test. That's a pretty good turning radius. Not quite as tight as I might have expected. Oh, but power. Goodness, the power. This feels right there as quick as the 382 horsepower M340i, which, like this car, can get in rear drive or all-wheel drive. Man, that just doesn't get old. That's some serious thrust. If you do that all the time, you'll really put the fuel economy to the test. This car gets 21 combined from 17 city, or is it 18 city? 18 city and 27 highway. So it really leans in favor of that city fuel economy, because that's a wide spread to get just 21 combined MPG. And yeah, you'll dip through that fuel hastily if you're always on the power. But settling into highway speeds, we've gone back to sport drive mode. Let's go even into eco, and we can test out the driver assistance features. Turn on adaptive cruise control and then lane keep assist. And if this is like any of the Hyundai motor vehicles, then this is going to be a very good system, keeping me centered in the lane and allowing me to keep my hands just hovering outside the steering wheel for quite a while. Yeah, perfectly taking this curve here. Okay, it wants me to check back in, give it a little jostle. Now, as these speeds have picked up to highway speeds and when I'm not on the throttle, I am noting more wind noise than I would want at this price point. Yeah, I would almost expect, I mean, this doesn't feel as well insulated of a cabin as the C43 or the Audi S4 or the BMW M340i. I'm getting more wind noise in this cabin than I want. But I was with Forrest Jones at Forrest Auto Reviews, and we did a sound decibel meter check between this and the Acura TLX Type S, and this was notably quieter. So it bests the TLX in that way. But back to the performance, because I want to talk about the fact that this car has a McPherson strut front suspension and multi-link rear setup, which is not as ideal a performance calibration as having a double wishbone front suspension like the TLX Type S now has, and its German competitors do have. That would give you even better ride quality, better steering feel, and just a more eagerness and readiness to change direction. And so that's why I feel slightly more disconnected from this car's driving experience than I did, for example, in the Acura TLX Type S. That car, it was more excitable, and not in a frenetic sort of can't control you sort of way, but just like a bringing you in deeper to the driving experience. This I feel a bit stepped away from. But as a luxury car, this feels like a better put together product than the Acura TLX Type S. Not better than the German rivals, but those cars cost significantly more. So let's talk pricing real quick. This vehicle, if you want the 3.3T Sport, you can get into it as cheap as $43,000. And compare that to the BMW M340i, 57 grand, the C43, 58 grand. That's a deal. This one, as tested, fully decked out. I can't think of an option this car doesn't have, and is just under 52. That's a heck of a deal, man. If you like how it looks, again, prefer the pre-facelifted G70 in the front, but otherwise the car looks very handsome. That's a heck of a deal. Is the sound system, or is the Apple CarPlay connected enough now to give us a sound system test? Let's find out. Nope. No, this is just a major fail. One more time. Oh. There we go. So we're at about 3/4 volume right now. Okay, so that was acceptable. The volume certainly got loud enough. The bass was on the softer side, and I keep everything always in the mid level. I don't like weight the bass or the treble any more than the other things to compare it side by side with other sound systems. It got a bit distorted as the volume was higher. So I think I think the sound system is acceptable. I'm going to leave it here because I'm going to do a quick launch control. Again, at this price point, I think if we were talking about a Bang & Olufsen sound system or Burmester, we'd expect more out of that, but that was okay. So Sport Plus, now I got to hold the traction control button until it turns off completely, and now I'm ready for launch control. So hold foot hard on the brake, give it gas, let it build up to about 2,300 RPM, and away we go. Man. Oh yeah, that's a low 4-second launch right there. That is not high 4 seconds. And that had a bit of an uphill to it. And no drama. That's a very good launch control system. No drama from a rear drive car sending all that power back there. It just went. Color me impressed with the G70 3.3T, especially at this price. If we were talking same price as the M340i or the C43, it would have a tougher case to make. But for this money, fully decked out, this is a heck of a car. Heck of a car. And with that, guys, I hope you enjoyed these POV drive impressions, and I will see you again next time.